Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wingcat Sports. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions. The question today, are the Lions overhyped this year? I would say somewhat. I mean, there's reasons to be excited about the Lions, but at the same time, are we getting too excited?
Well, I would say, yeah, I would consider them overhyped simply because, you know, and I guess it's fun to have this hype going on. It's certainly the most interest that me and my brother have had in the last 40 years. I mean, this is the most hype we have been getting from the Lions. Usually, you know what you're getting. You're getting draft picks that don't work out, and you're getting like a 7-10 season. And yes, more is expected out of this team, but you always have it in the back of your head as a Lions fan, especially an older Lions fan, that they could always disappoint you. I mean, on paper, my personal expectations of them are to win the NFC North. I'm not talking about going to the championship. I think the NFC North is going to be a dogfight this year with Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota, all of them. I don't think there's going to be an easy game. But all I can do is hope as a Lions fan.
Yeah.
You hope that they go 6-1 in their first 7 games and they go 1-6 for you. So.
Well, we should know pretty quickly. We'll be there in 2 months for the first game.
Going to be at Arrowhead,
Kansas City, and it should be if they win that game, the city.
Then it's a different
the city
vibe.
will explode.
But we don't expect them to win that game.
It's none of us expect that. We we all want them to do well, and if they come out of that game just giving Kansas City a good game and competition, and then it isn't going to douse our enthusiasm for this team. We could say they're overhyped, but every team is overhyped. If you listen to the Chicago media, they think they're going to go 11-5 or 11-7 and win the division or whatever it is. And same thing with everybody in Green Bay is excited about Jordan Love, even though they have no clue what that's going to what's going to happen. That's part of sports. That's part of the fun of sports. We're hyping them up, trying to sell tickets.
It's fun. It is fun.
I think most people in this town realize, a Super Bowl would be an insane thing.
It's something that the majority of people alive in this area have not experienced.
Yes.
Well, right.
I think the one thing that makes people feel like the Lions are more overhyped than they might be at the moment is the attention they're getting on national media.
Right.
When I'm sitting in my bed and I randomly see a segment on ESPN about the Lions, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Are they trying to hype this team up because they're playing the Chiefs that first game?
Well, sure.
Sure.
They would not, I don't think that.
But also how they ended the year.
They could give them a good game.
When you see at the end of what we did for the last 10 games of the year, they see a team on the rise that they can hype up to go into Kansas City and hopefully have a good game.
Because let's face it probably should have been the Eagles or something like that they
right. And and to be honest, over the last 2 seasons, even coming from somebody who's been watching them for as many years as I have, these are not the same old Lions.
Don't appear to be.
They did a number of things last year that just defied something that no Lion team I ever watched would do.
They found out how to win games.
They found out they won
instead of to lose games.
They went into Green Bay last year, last game of the season.
They won 3 straight games against Green Bay.
Right. Yep. And beat Aaron Rodgers when all Green Bay had to do was win and go to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They had nothing to play for.
That was a great game to be at.
Except send Rodgers.
Great game to be at.
And they did. And that was a great streak. Other than the Carolina game, it was an amazing streak that they went on in their last 10 games.
Yep.
One blip that cost them the playoffs. And that's why I said, we're going to be on them very early. They wanted this. The Lions asked for this. They want to be a Super Bowl team, which is, like I said, another unusual thing. Because I don't really believe before Shia LaFord that her parents ever really even cared. I honestly, I just don't think they wanted to win. I didn't think this organization.
I don't think they knew anything about running
on the level
an NFL team.
No,
I don't. Their attitude was, go get a coach. Really, anybody will do. Pick the most high-profile draft pick that we can to create market them, create some excitement, and then if you're hoping, if you make the playoffs, great. If you don't, it doesn't matter because you got 60, 70,000 people at home games regardless.
Right. We had one fluke year in all the years that we've watched this team.
Mid-90s, like what, 95?
Right, 91. Well, the year they beat Dallas.
Yes.
The year they beat that, they went to the NFC Championship game. They went 12-4, had a great year. Yep. That was a fluke. I mean, after that, they sucked.
I don't think the Lions. I don't even think in the Lions' history they've won more than 12 games.
Right.
I think 12 is the max. So the fact that we have people predicting, like me and you, who predicted that they could win more than 12, you are saying this is a new Lions team. You're saying they have the chance.
Exactly.
But like as we're talking about, if they're overhyped or not, I could see them going 9-8 again.
I would be very disappointed.
I could see them 10-7
in that team.
You know, barring injuries, which are always a factor, barring if they have a relatively healthy season, and if they go 9-8 again, it would be greatly deflating.
Yes. And honestly, I worry about Campbell making bad coaching decisions like he did last year.
But he learned.
I don't imagine it as much as I used to. I think the guy started coming around. Like I said,
I like Dan Campbell. I think he's the most likable coach we've had in decades here.
Certainly.
Same with Brad Holmes.
You don't want to totally take away that gambling type of thing. I love seeing the fake punts, and I love seeing the for it down, go for it mentality at the right time.
And the trick plays.
Yes.
But it's also just as much as it is Dan Campbell as it is Ben Johnson.
Right.
Going for those trick plays. Making those weird plays. Like the one we saw in Green Bay.
Right.
On that second down opportunity. 2nd and 20 or whatever. And he pitches it. Right. A throw and pitch.
Bad weather.
In a cold weather game. That's something the Lions would have never done.
You're right.
You're right.
So it is and the fact that you got a coordinator willing to stay here in Ben Johnson, turning down head coaching opportunities to build something here.
You have players.
He ain't going to be around for long because someone's going to notice him eventually. And this is how it goes.
It takes a lot of maturity on his part in the sense to realize, look, I got a lot of years ahead of me. I haven't had that many years as an offensive coordinator. I may need a few more years.
That was his first year. Like 35?
It was his first year.
I think that shows a hell of a lot of maturity that he'd rather be, keep learning on the job till he feels comfortable with transitioning to head coach. And I've always thought, just because you're a great coordinator does not make you a great head coach. Lots of examples of that. People who have failed, who were great coordinators and could not make that next step. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would admire a guy who sat there and says, I am an offensive coordinator, and that's where my talent lies. Mm-hmm. And that's where I want to stay. I'm not saying Ben Johnson's going to be like that, but I don't understand this mentality of always thinking that's, being a head coach is a tough job.
Before Ben Johnson, who would you guys say was the best offensive coordinator the Lions have had? We can even just limit it to the 2000s. For reference, because of my lifetime.
That's hard.
Who would you give it to?
To be honest with you, I couldn't even name one.
The only other guy that comes to my mind, and only because of his name, is Jim Bob Cooter.
Who was? Not Jim Bob Cooter. Who was the guy that? Who was the guy that was part of Belichick's? He was their offensive coordinator. He created that passing offense that we had in the early 2000s. Do you remember that guy's name?
Are you talking about? I mean, you have to go back to the days of, I think, like I said, back when we Mouse Davis and things like that in the 90s when we had
this guy was the coordinator for the Patriots when they were in the Super Bowl. The offensive coordinator.
Oh,
gray-haired
I know who
guy,
you're talking
glasses.
about. Weiss? Is that what his
No,
name?
not Weiss.
Charlie Weiss or
No,
something
not
like
Charlie
that?
Weiss was that fat ass coach for Notre Dame.
Well, he was their offensive coordinator for a while.
No,
But still, like
I forgot his name.
You can't. But that's the thing. There hasn't been decent coordinators. I mean, even Aaron Glenn, he didn't start out good with his play with stuff that was going on, but he ended the year really, really good, and now he has an actual defense to work with, and not a bunch of nobodies, right? And he found the gems that he had in his defense.
Right.
So it is going to be a very interesting year. Do I think the hype is deserved? Yeah. You haven't had a good team.
It's fun.
You haven't
It's
had a
fun
good
to think
team
about
in
it.
forever. And the fact that you actually have a chance for once and you can give people hope, why not?
But ultimately, the hype means nothing. You got to go out there and prove it. You got to go out there and win your games. And they know that. And so does every other team that's being hyped. Those who deserve it, like the Kansas Cities and Buffaloes of the world, we're just trying to, they're just trying to garner some interest in the city is. I mean, I've never seen the city this excited about
you're right.
Lions.
It's a big buzz in our
the
area.
NFL want us to do Hard Knocks for a second straight season. The NFL wants us to actually potentially.
And if they disappoint, you're not going to hear anything about us again.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. We've got how many primetime games this year?
At least 4, could be up to 6.
Do we have any Sunday night games?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Let's be
I think
honest.
Denver's
We're
Sunday,
not,
potentially.
what we're looking for is a divisional championship. We're looking for a playoff. Hopefully, a victory.
Win the division, have home field advantage, win a playoff game.
After that, it's
not much to
ask. If they can accomplish that, people will be happy next year.
Listen, if you
win the division, we all want to go to the
Hey, if you can go farther, we're all on board.
Right,
but we know not to look too far ahead.
Yep.
We're looking. We don't. I don't think anybody here considers us the Kansas City Chiefs or anything like that. But the NFC isn't that strong, and I think with enough breaks, we can be as good as any team.
God, I hope we win in Kansas City.
It'll be an experience.
It'll be fun.
They can grab Patrick Mahomes' brother and give him bolo punches to the gut, because that's what I do.
Yes,
sure, plenty of people.
And
I totally forgot what's with Patrick Mahomes' brother.
We don't got to talk about.
Oh, okay. We don't talk about that. Okay, I don't know what that.
He just deserves bolo punches to the gut.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
But with that being said, right? If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. We do like hearing from you in the comments, and share the video. Until next time, hope to see everybody soon.